Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually, when we sit down at this table, we're looking inward at human psychology, our history, or, the tech we're building right here on Earth.
Right.
But today, we are pivoting. We are turning the lens outward. Way, way out.
We are leaving the solar system entirely for this one. I mean, completely.
Exactly. I've got a stack of research here that is honestly a little vertigo-inducing. We aren't just looking at spectroscopic data or orbital periods of exoplanets.
And this is different.
We are looking at a reconstruction of the life that might actually be crawling, swimming, or flying on them. We have, 18 distinct species on the docket today?
18. And what I appreciate about this particular collection of research is that it moves beyond the movie monster trope.
Right. It's not just big teeth and claws.
Not at all. It's not just about scary things. It's a study in convergent evolution. It's about how the fundamental laws of physics and chemistry force life into very specific shapes to solve very specific problems.
And that's the mission today. We are going on a safari, a grand tour of the galaxy. We want to channel that inner nature documentary, spirit imagine, the hushed voice, the slow motion camera work.
The David Attenborough vibe.
Exactly. And really trying to visualize these creatures in their natural habitats. We're going to look at how they move, how they hunt, and how they survive in environments that would kill a human in, seconds?
Seconds, if you're lucky. And impossible is the operative word here. We have to strip away our Earth-centric biases.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to see biology solving the problem of gravity on a super-Earth, or the problem of energy on a starless rogue planet. The solutions are alien, but the logic, the evolutionary logic, is rock solid.
So the roadmap for the safari is pretty extensive. We're starting low in the fungal plains, moving through the twilight forests, diving into high-pressure oceans, crossing volcanic deserts, and finally we're going to ascend into the clouds of gas giants.
It's a vertical journey as much as a horizontal one. From the burrowers to the eternal flyers, it's quite a trip.
Okay, so let's set the scene for part one, the fungal frontiers. We are touching down on two specific worlds here, Wolf 1061c and LHS 1140b.
Right.
If you step out of the ship on Wolf 1061c, the first thing that hits you isn't the view, it's the air quality.
Oh, it's thick, heavy, and it has this sickly yellow tinge to it. On this world, traditional photosynthesis, the green stuff we're used to, it never really took hold the way it did on Earth.
So no trees, no grass.
The dominant life forms are fungi. Giant, towering stalks, carpets of mycelium. The air is absolutely saturated with spores.
It's a severe allergy season that lasts forever.
A deadly one.
And living in this choking haze, we find our first creature, the mushap. Now, looking at the rendering, my first instinct is to call it a rabbit, but that's not quite right.
It has that general body plan, the powerful hind legs.
But it's the texture that's jarring. It is completely, totally hairless.
And that lack of hair is the primary adaptation. It's the key to its survival. If you were a furry creature on Wolf 1061c, you'd be dead in a week.
Really?
Those sticky, microscopic spores would cling to fur, matting it down, trapping moisture and bacteria against the skin. You'd essentially become a walking petri dish for infection.
That's a horrible image.
So the mushap went the other way.
Sleek.
Exactly. Evolution favored the slick. Its skin secretes a specialized lipid, a heavy hydrophobic oil. It acts almost like a biological Teflon.
Well, I like that. A biological Teflon.
As it moves through the undergrowth, the spores just slide right off. It's a constant passive hygiene system. It never has to groom.
But the thing that separates the mushap from just being a slippery, naked mole rat is its behavior. You mentioned in the notes that these things are engineers.
They are. They're agricultural engineers. The mushap lives underground, presumably to escape the worst of the storms on the surface. But they don't just forage, they farm.
Wait, you're serious? We're talking intentional cultivation.
We are. They dig these elaborate tunnel systems, sometimes extending 30 or 40 meters deep. Inside these temperature-controlled chambers, they cultivate specific strains of edible fungi.
How do they do that?
They bring down organic matter from the surface to mulch their gardens, they prune back the toxic varieties, and they harvest the crop.
That implies a level of foresight that's pretty rare. It's not just find food, eat food. It's invest labor now for food later.
It is. It's a huge cognitive leap. And it's a cultural transmission. We see extended family units where the older generation actively demonstrates to the younger ones which fungi are the good crops and which are the weeds.
So they're teaching their kids how to farm.
It's a subterranean agrarian society maintained by hairless, oily rabbits.
That is just incredible. Now, occupying the same world Wolf 1061c, but taking a completely different approach, is the mush mite.
Yeah.
While the mushop is hiding underground, the mush mite is right out there in the thick of it.
The mush mite is a lesson in sensory adaptation. It's smaller, kind of insectoid in its movements, but it's a vertebrate in its structure. You look at its head, you see these two long waving stalks.
I assume those were eyes, like a snail.
That's the common assumption. But in a spore fog, vision is terrible. I mean, you can't see more than a few feet in front of you.
So what are they?
Those stalks are actually high-fidelity chemoreceptors. They are noses on stalks.
So they are smelling in stereo.
In high-definition stereo.
Hmm?
By spacing the sensors apart on movable stalks, they can triangulate the source of a smell with incredible precision.
That's a huge advantage.
It is. They can detect the chemical signature of a specific edible mushroom spore from 100 meters away, through the noise of a billion other smells.
So it's navigating a chemical map rather than a visual one.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
But I have to ask about the diet. If you're eating fungi on an alien world, you're dealing with toxins.
Heavy toxins. The mush mite is an obligate fungivore, meaning it eats nothing else. To survive, its gut microbiome is just a powerhouse of detoxification. But the most impressive adaptation is how it handles the boom and bust nature of the environment.
What do you mean by that?
Fungi bloom in cycles. Sometimes there's a feast, sometimes it's barren.
Right. And that brings us to the pause button on their reproduction.
Embryonic diapause. It's a mechanism we see rarely on Earth, in kangaroos, for instance. But the mush mite has perfected it. A female can conceive, but then chemically halt the development of the embryo.
She can just pause the pregnancy.
She can keep that bundle of cells in a state of suspended animation for months, waiting for the chemical signal in the air that indicates a spore bloom is coming.
So she waits until the pantry is full before she brings the kids into the world.
Precisely. It couples reproduction directly to environmental capacity. It's an incredibly efficient strategy.
Let's hop over to the second fungal world, LHS 1140b, for the third creature in this section. This one feels like a visual spectacle, the shroom shell scuttler.
This is a favorite of mine. It's a detritivore. It scuttles around the forest floor, eating decaying matter, but it looks like a living jewel. It has a hard protective shell.
Okay, like a crab.
But unlike the calcium carbonate shells of earth crabs, this material is translucent,
A clear shell.
crystalline and clear. And the creature underneath is bioluminescent. It pulses with these vibrant turquoise and cyan lights.
Which seems counterintuitive. If you are a small scavenger, don't you want to be invisible? A glowing neon sign usually says, "Eat me."
Usually, yes.
Hmm.
But you have to understand the context of spore season on LHS 1140b. Periodically, the fungi release clouds of bioluminescent spores. The whole world glitters.
Oh, so it's camouflage.
Well, not just camouflage. During this time, the scuttlers congregate in the thousands.
Safety in number.
Safety and dazzle. They synchronize their pulsing. Imagine a predator looking down at the forest floor. It doesn't see a single scuttler.
It just sees light.
It sees a rippling, shifting ocean of light that matches the drifting spores. It's a confusion tactic. It breaks up the silhouette of the individual so effectively that the predator can't lock on.
It's weaponized beauty. I love that. Okay, let's leave the fungal plains behind. The air is clearing up, but the shadows are getting deeper. We are moving into part 2. Symbiosis and shadows.
We are heading to the dense skyscraper forests of Kepler 442, Gliese 667 cc, and Proxima Centauri b. These are worlds where the competition for space and light is fierce.
And on Kepler 442, we find a creature that has reinvented locomotion, the moss glider. Looking at the biomechanics here, it doesn't seem to have legs for walking.
No, walking is inefficient on Kepler 442. The forest floor is covered in a moss so thick and spongy that stepping on it would be like walking through deep snow.
It would just sink.
You'd expend a ton of energy.
Yeah.
So the moss glider skims over the top.
Skims, like a sled.
Think of a panther-sized insect, but its underside is a smooth, specialized pad. It secretes a high-viscosity enzymatic fluid, essentially a super lubricant.
So it turns the forest floor into a slip-and slide.
Exactly. It reduces the coefficient of friction to almost zero. It pushes off with these rear-gripping limbs and then just hydroplanes across the moss. It's silent and it's fast.
Oh.
But the moss, in its name, refers to more than just the terrain.
It's wearing the terrain, right?
Right. The dorsal side, the back of the creature, is a living garden. It has a symbiotic relationship with the moss. The moss grows on its back, providing perfect camouflage.
And what does the moss get out of it?
In exchange, the moss feeds off the nitrogen-rich waste products secreted through the creature's exoskeleton.
A mobile fertilizer unit. But it's a predator, isn't it?
A terrifying one. It uses that connection to the moss network for hunting. It finds a junction where several moss trails meet and settles down. It becomes invisible.
And then,
Then it vibrates its body to send a specific frequency through the ground, mimicking the distress tremors of smaller prey.
no way, it's ringing the dinner bell.
It is. And when a curious scavenger comes to investigate, slide, strike. The prey is gone before it knows what happened.
Remind me to stay off the moss on Kepler 442nd. Let's move to the red light of Gliese 667cc. This is a red dwarf system, so the photosynthesis is different, right?
The light is weaker and mostly in the infrared spectrum. So the plants here are black or deep purple to absorb every photon they can. The ferns here grow 100 meters tall.
100 meters. That's a 30-story building.
Exactly.
And living in the canopy of these black ferns is the spotted fern trotter. This creature seems to be having an identity crisis. Is it an animal or a plant?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
We call it mixotrophy. It's primarily a predator. It hunts insects and small lizards, but it has a backup generator.
A backup generator.
Those spots covering its body are rich in chloroplasts, adapted for red dwarf light.
So if the hunting is bad, it can just sunbathe.
It creates an energy floor. You can't run a marathon on sunlight alone, but it can stay alive. When prey is scarce, the fern trotter finds a sunbeam, flares out its spotted frills to maximize surface area, and recharges.
That is a massive evolutionary advantage. You never completely starve.
It changes their social behavior too.
Yeah.
Since they don't need to fight to the death for food, they resolve conflicts through display.
How does that work?
They have throat sacs that they inflate, and they can pulse blood into their solar spots to change their brightness.
So a territorial dispute is just two creatures shouting, "I'm brighter than you."
Basically, the one with the healthiest, most vibrant solar panels wins the territory. It's a proxy for fitness. No need to risk injury.
Smart. Okay, moving on to Proxima Centauri b. This is a tidally locked world, one side always facing the sun, one side always frozen.
Which leaves the habitable zone as a thin strip of eternal twilight between the two, the Terminator line.
And here we find the spot-necked glade runner. It's a nomadic grazer, but the adaptation that caught my eye is how it hears.
It's living in a world of dim light and constant wind. Standard hearing isn't enough. The spots on its neck are actually tension membranes sensitive to infrasound extremely low-frequency vibrations.
It sounds below the range of human hearing.
Much below. They can feel the atmospheric pressure changes of a storm brewing on the dark side of the planet. They can detect the rhythmic footfalls of a predator from kilometers away.
So it's like a weather station and a security system rolled into one.
It gives them a 360-degree awareness system that works in the dark.
And they need to keep moving, don't they?
They do. The planet has a slight wobble libration, which means the habitable twilight zone shifts back and forth over time. The glade runners are in a permanent state of migration, chasing the sunset.
There is a note here about the crimson drift. That sounds poetic.
It's their mating season, when the atmospheric conditions scatter light to turn the sky a deep blood red. The glade runners engage in this mesmerizing display. They flex muscles underneath their neck spots to create rippling kaleidoscopic patterns.
So they are visual communicators in the twilight.
It's likely the only time they stop moving. A brief moment of connection before the herd has to move on to stay in the safe zone.
Okay, we've done the ground, we've done the forests. Now take a deep breath. We're going underwater. Part 3, the deep and the cold.
We are looking at Kepler 22b and the ice moons of Gliese. The pressures here are, well, they're immense.
Let's start with the global ocean of Kepler 22b. You mentioned this ocean is deep.
Unfathomably deep. On Earth, the Mariana Trench is about 11 kilometers. On Kepler 22b, the ocean floor can be hundreds of kilometers down. We are looking at the mid-layer, about 20 kilometers deep.
So, absolute darkness.
Absolute darkness.
Crushing pressure.
And here lives the glass fin phantom. How does anything survive that pressure without being crushed like a soda can?
By not having any air pockets to crush, and by abandoning bones. The glass fin phantom is almost entirely gelatinous. Its body fluids are equalized to the surrounding pressure.
So it's like a jellyfish.
On a much larger scale. If you brought it to the surface, it would melt into a puddle, but down there, it's a supreme predator.
Glass fin implies transparency.
In the beam of a submersible, it looks like a ghost. You can see its internal organs. But its weapon is light. It has photophores on its fin tips.
Bioluminescence again?
But this is aggressive mimicry. It pulses its lights in a pattern that matches the mating display of a smaller, common prey species.
So it's playing a recording of a come hither signal. Exactly. A hopeful suitor swings out of the darkness expecting a mate, and instead finds the phantom.
And then what?
And the jaw mechanics are terrifying. Because it has no rigid skull, it can distend its mouth to an impossible width. It essentially envelops the prey.
It swallows them whole, even if they are the same size. That is nightmare's fuel.
Truly.
Let's move to Tau Ceti E, a shallower ocean, but the creature here, the glubtin, challenges our definition of a brain.
The glubtin is a jellyfish analog, but it's huge. And you're right, it challenges the centralized model of intelligence. Humans have a brain in our heads that drives the car.
Right.
The glubtin has a distributed brain.
Explain that. Is it like an octopus?
Similar, but more extreme. Its neural tissue is spread evenly through its tentacles and body belt. There is no commander. The tentacles make local decisions.
What do you mean local decision?
One tentacle can decide to investigate a rock, while another decides to flee a current.
That sounds like chaos. How do they get anything done?
Emergent consensus. If enough tentacles signal food, the whole organism moves toward food. It's democracy in biology.
Wow.
But the glubtin's real claim to fame is its reproductive cycle. It's complicated.
Alternating generations.
Right. Generation A is sexual. Males and females releasing gametes. Standard stuff. But their children, Generation B, are asexual.
So they don't mate.
They don't. They grow to a massive size and then bud off clones.
So the grandkids are clones of the kids, but the kids were distinct individuals.
Yes. It's a strategy to maximize both quality and quantity. The sexual generation ensures genetic diversity, shuffling the deck to adapt to changes.
And the asexual one.
The asexual generation ensures mass population growth, flooding the zone when conditions are good.
It's the best of both worlds. Now, for the final swimmer, the brain-free swimmer of Enceladus Secundus. This is an ice moon, so the water is sub-zero.
It's super cooled salt water, kept liquid by ammonia, freezing cold.
So how does it not freeze solid?
The brain-freeze swimmer has adapted its blood chemistry. It doesn't use iron-based hemoglobin like us. It uses copper-based hemocyanin.
Which makes the blood blue.
A rich, deep blue. And chemically, it's much more efficient at binding oxygen in low-temperature, low-oxygen environments. Iron gets sluggish in the coal. Copper keeps working.
Now, the name brain freeze comes from its physical appearance. It has a massive bulbous forehead.
It looks like a caricature of a genius, right?
Yeah.
But that head isn't full of neurons. It's full of lipid wax.
It's a flotation device.
Precisely. It's a melon, similar to what sperm whales have, but used for static buoyancy. By heating or cooling the wax with blood flow, it can change the density of the fluid.
So what's the point of that?
This allows the creature to hover perfectly still at any depth without moving a muscle.
Stealth mode.
Absolute stealth. It hangs in the water column, invisible to sonar, waiting for schooling crustaceans to drift by. Then it uses precise, minute fin movements to create a suction current, vacuuming them in.
Amazing. Okay, let's dry off and warm up. Actually, let's warm up a lot. We are moving to part 4, armor and heat.
From the freezer to the furnace, we are looking at TRAPPIST-1, Kepler 452b, and Ross 128b.
Let's start on the volcanic badlands of TRAPPIST-1m with the thorn-necked crawler. This environment sounds apocalyptic.
Constant volcanic activity. Ash falling like snow. Temperatures that swing wildly from scorching hot to freezing cold.
And the crawler.
It's a robust lizard-like creature, but its most defining feature is this collar of massive vascularized thorns.
My first thought was defense. Spikes stop things from biting your neck.
And they do serve that purpose, but their primary function is thermal engineering. These thorns are heat exchangers. They're pumped full of blood.
Like the ears of an elephant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When the volcanic heat spikes, the crawler pumps blood into the thorns to radiate excess heat away, cooling the body. When the temperature drops at night, it constricts the vessels, keeping the heat in the core.
It's a living thermostat.
A very effective one.
But the note here says they also use these thorns for parenting.
This is the delicate part. They lay eggs in the volcanic ash. But ash is tricky. Too close to a vent, the eggs cook. Too far, they freeze.
So how do they know where to lay them?
The female uses the sensitive nerve endings in her thorns to probe the ash deposits. She can detect temperature variances of a fraction of a degree.
She's looking for the Goldilocks zone.
She finds the exact spot where the geothermal heat will incubate the eggs perfectly. It's high-stakes gardening.
Moving to the desert world of Kepler 452b, we have a predator-prey duo here. Let's start with a hunter, the dune stalker.
The dune stalker is the ultimate lesson in water conservation. It lives in a hyper-arid desert. It never drinks,
Never.
never sips liquid water. It gets all its hydration from the blood of its prey and from the metabolic breakdown of fats.
That's incredible.
Its kidneys are hyper-efficient. Its urine is excreted as a solid crystal to avoid losing even a drop of moisture.
Solid urine. That is efficient and gross, but effective.
It has to be. And because the dunes are featureless and shifting, it needs a way to navigate. It has a specialized hippocampus, the part of the brain for memory, that is enormous.
So it has a good memory.
More than that, it creates a mental grid of the desert based on subtle magnetic field variations.
So it has a GPS in its head, and what is it hunting? The shell rumbler.
The shell rumbler is the tank of this world. It's megafauna 3 meters tall, weighing over a ton. It's a tortoise on steroids.
With a shell that never stops growing.
It's a layered accretion. It sweats out a cement-like substance that hardens. Over decades, the shell becomes thick, craggy, and impregnable.
A walking fortress.
Pretty much. But the rumbler name comes from its voice.
Infrasound again?
Yes, but specifically ground-coupled infrasound. Sand absorbs high-frequency sound quickly. If you shouted in a dune field, your voice wouldn't go far. But low-frequency rumbles travel through the ground for kilometers.
Where they talk through their feet.
They stomp and rumble to coordinate movements toward ephemeral water sources. It's a seismic conversation.
One last armored beast. The jungle shellhopper on Ross 128b. This is a high-gravity world.
Higher gravity means you feel heavier. So usually animals are low to the ground and stocky. But the shellhopper defies this.
Oh.
It's heavily armored with a shell made of biomineralized polymers. It incorporates silicon and trace metals from the plants it eats.
So it's wearing a composite alloy vest?
But instead of crawling, it hops. It has hydraulic legs. It uses pressurized fluid systems to store potential energy and release it in explosive bursts.
Why hop in high gravity? Isn't that harder?
Because the jungle floor is a tangled mess of roots and decay. The walking is too energy expensive. Hopping allows it to bypass the clutter entirely.
And I love that researchers can date them like trees.
Yes, the metal in the shell oxidizes in layers. You can count the rings on a shellhopper's armor to see how many seasons it has survived.
That brings us to the final leg of our journey. We are looking up, Part 5, Masters of the Sky.
This is where things get truly alien. We're looking at gas giants and storm worlds where ground is just a theoretical concept.
Let's start with the Skythorn on HD 4307 gram. This is a gas giant, no surface.
Just endless layers of cloud and pressure. The Skythorn is a creature that never lands because there is nowhere to land.
So how does it not fall? Flapping forever seems impossible.
It doesn't flap to stay aloft, it floats. It has large internal bladders that it fills with hydrogen gas extracted from the atmosphere. It's a biological zeppelin.
A living balloon.
A balloon that grazes. It drifts through the cloud layers, filter feeding on airborne bacterial colonies. Its life cycle is completely aerial.
Completely.
Mating happens in free-fall spirals. Eggs are laid on floating mats of vegetation or bacteria.
The babies are born flying.
If they fall too deep, they are crushed. If they float too high, they freeze. They have to maintain neutral buoyancy in the habitable band from the moment they hatch.
Now for a much more violent sky, the Hexapteryx on HD 189733b. This is the planet famously nicknamed the Hell World.
Rightly so. Winds clocking at 7,000 kilometers per hour, and it rains molten glass sideways.
How does complex life survive a glass hurricane?
By living in the eye of the storm. The Hexapteryx has 6 wings arranged, radially covered in hypersensitive baroreceptors.
What do those do?
They can feel pressure differentials in the air. They can sense the chaotic turbulence of the storm wall and navigate the tiny, stable pockets of air within the vortex.
It surfs the chaos.
It has to. And its reproductive strategy is extreme. It's what we call reselection taken to the max.
Yeah.
It flies to the edge of the storm wall, the most dangerous place, and jettisons its clutch of eggs directly into the jet stream.
It throws its babies into the hurricane.
It uses the storm to disperse them. The winds scatter the eggs across the planet. Most will die.
But some will survive.
But the few that land in a calm zone will hatch. It prevents the parents from competing with their own offspring for limited resources in the calm zones.
That is brutal efficiency. Let's look at a predator on a high-gravity world. The Skyraptor on Kepler 186.
This creature shouldn't be able to fly. On a high-gravity world, the energy cost of lift is massive.
So what's its secret?
The Skyraptor has hollow bones.
Birds have hollow bones too.
True, but birds fill them with air. The skyraptor fills its bone cavities with a metabolic hydrogen-helium mix. It lowers its overall density significantly,
Is lighter than it looks.
much lighter. But what puts it at the top of the food chain isn't just its bones, it's its brain.
This is the scary part.
It is. We see evidence of cultural transmission of hunting techniques. Adults actively teach juveniles how to angle their wing scales to catch thermal updrafts. They hunt in coordinated packs.
So we have a lighter than air, intelligent raptors. I'm glad Kepler 186 buff is light years away.
Me too.
Next up, the sky slitter on TRAPPIST-1, the mist whirl.
Eternal fog. Visibility is zero. The sky slither is a serpentine creature that lives in the canopy of the giant flora. It doesn't fly with wings, it glides as a ribbon.
Like the flying snakes on Earth.
Similar physics. It flattens its rib cage to turn its body into a concave wing. It generates lift as it slithers through the air. But the key adaptation is its variable skeleton. It can lock its vertebrae.
Lock them.
When it needs to be a rigid glider, the joints lock into place. When it lands, it needs to coil or climb, they unlock. It switches between a rigid airplane wing and a flexible snake in a split second.
That is astonishing mechanical engineering. Finally, our last creature, the sky shell glider on Gliese 832c.
This is a fitting end of the tour because it shows us something beyond just survival. The skyshell glider is heavily armored with a metallic organic metamaterial shell to protect against meteorite microimpacts.
So it's another armored creature.
But observers have noted behavior that looks like play,
Play. Like for fun.
aerial acrobatics, tag, passing objects back and forth in midair. There is no survival benefit to this energy expenditure.
What does that mean biologically?
In biology, play is a sign of surplus cognitive capacity. It suggests a level of intelligence where the creature has mastered its environment enough to enjoy it.
A flying armored turtle that likes to do barrel rolls?
Essentially, it reminds us that these aren't just biological machines, they are living, thinking entities.
Wow. We have just sprinted through 18 miracles of evolution, from the fungal farmers of Wolf 1061c to the playful gliders of Gliese.
It's a lot to process.
It is. So if we step back, if we look at this whole menagerie, what is the big takeaway? Why does this matter to us?
I think the lesson is that life is the ultimate opportunist. When we look at these creatures, they seem bizarre. Copper blood, glass rain, farming fungi.
All right, it all seems impossible.
But if you strip away the exotic chemistry, they are solving the exact same problems Earth animals solve.
Eating, not freezing, and making sure the babies survive.
Exactly. The problem is, I need energy, so the fern trotter becomes a solar panel. The problem is the air is toxic, so the mushop becomes slippery. Life takes whatever materials are lying around, silicon, hydrogen, methane, and builds a solution.
It makes our definition of habitable feel a little narrow, doesn't it?
Extremely narrow. We look for blue water and green grass. But the universe is full of life that would look at Earth with its corrosive oxygen atmosphere and crushing gravity and say, that's a hell world, nothing could live there.
That is a humbling thought. We might be the weird ones.
In the grand scheme of things, I think we probably are.
So the next time you look up at the night sky, try to look past the stars. Don't just see the points of light. Imagine the sky thorns floating in the clouds, the rumblers shaking the ground, and the mush hops tending their gardens in the dark. The universe is likely much more crowded than we think.
And much more creative.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. I'm gonna go dream about flying turtles. We'll see you on the next one. Stay curious.